So an update on how our dahlias are getting on, and a recap on the different ways of starting dahlias in the spring. Thanks for those who have subscribed and are watching the series. Thank you very much indeed. If anybody is growing dahlias and want to share their experience, I'd be grateful if you'd put some comments up. Always nice to see. So as far as the options go, apart from seeds, which I did talk about a little in the very first video, I'm not growing seeds. There are three options for growing dahlias. One option is to grow the tubers complete, and I'm doing so. The last video I put up was how to plant tubers into pots, waiting to be put into the ground later on in the season. So I'll show where they're up to later on, although not much has changed. It was only a week ago that we potted those. The second option is to use tubers in this way to make cuttings. The tubers I've used are pot tubers, which are specially made to produce cuttings. So their purpose in life is to produce as many cuttings as possible in a small space, and then it's the cutting which you take forward to grow. And the third option is single tubers, which there's a number of videos about that, where we've taken tubers at the end of last season and split them into tuber collections, that is, and we've split them into singles. So the reason for doing that is to increase stock. So you maybe have a single dahlia which has grown all season and has produced 7, 8, 9 tubers. If you're lucky, you'll be able to get 7, 8 or 9 new plants from those by dividing the tubers into singles. You need to store them over winter, and there's a few ways of doing that. My favourite method is to wrap them in cling film, and that's been very successful this year. There's videos on that. So this is the second option we're looking at, which is the pot dahlia tubers, and we've taken 29 cuttings from these so far, and there's a few left to come, so I'll show you how they're getting on. So for the pot tuber option, which is a good way of producing a number of plants from a single tuber, my method is to take a cutting, to put it in a square pot here, and then for the first 3 weeks or so, while the rooting is occurring, to cover in a plastic bag. I also keep them on warmth to promote the root growth. So these cuttings here are in the between 1 and 3 week stage, still in their plastic bag. I've moved these particular ones off the heat at the moment, but they've got plenty of light. So as they come 3 weeks old, I'll take the plastic bag off, have a look, check that there's new growth, which will indicate that there's some rooting, and at that stage I would take it away, put it into the polytunnel to grow on. So those in the polytunnel at the moment, we'll go and have a look at those now. So here we are in the polytunnel, and there's 28 dahlia cuttings here, all taken at various stages, but they've all rooted, and hence don't need a plastic bag. They're all doing pretty well. There's a further 6 weeks or so to go before these are put into the ground, so I'll probably pot these on into small, into 2-litre pots, so that they can grow on a bit before putting them in the ground. They do tend to get a bit root bound if they're left in these pots for too long, and then they don't do as well as they could have done if they were potted on. So this is okay at the moment, but you can see the root is filling up, and I think within another 6 weeks before we plant it out, that will be a pretty root bound plant. So I'll pot the earlier ones up into 2-litre pots before we actually get to planting them in the ground. And we'll go back now and have a look at the second option, which is the single tuber option, back in the propagating room. For the single tuber option, I set 2 lots off, one as a trial. We tried, I think, 15 single tubers to see whether they were going to put out shoots, and I've ended up with 13 plants here. These were all potted up on the 5th of March, which was 5 weeks ago. As you can see, they're all single variety. They're at different stages really. We've got 4 that are growing really well, 3 or 4 that are doing not badly, and others that are only just coming through, but they'll all be okay because I can see growth in each and every one of them. They're already in 3-litre pots, so these will simply grow on now until they're ready to go out in the ground in 6 weeks' time. So here is the bulk of the single dahlia tubers in a tray, getting started. After the video we did last week, I found a few more, so we've ended up with over 200 single dahlia tubers here on the go. And although it's only been 4 days since we put these in, we've already got signs of some growth here. That's Brookfield Snowball. Some more growth there. Another one. So these are all getting going nicely, and we'll follow the progress as time goes on. We'll take these out singly as they show enough growth to be handleable. So maybe an inch or so of growth, and we'll dig the tuber out, put it into a 3-litre pot to take it forward into the new season. And these are the dahlia tubers that we planted straight into pots from the tuber stage. So it was only a few days ago, so not much happening here. There's 30 preference dahlias underneath there. And on top, 3 or 4 different other varieties, 5 or 6 different varieties. And once they start to put shoots out, we'll follow them through and then into the ground and then into the growing season. So I hope you'll join me once we get into the growing season. Have a look at the various jobs that we do to keep the blooms coming. Thanks for watching.